Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, I've been reading a couple of articles about Roy Moore, and these articles are not about the sexual abuse allegations that have been raised against him. It's about something else. And for those of you who don't know about the sexual abuse allegations, 8 women have accused this man of sexual misconduct. A few of the women were teenagers at the time when he engaged in this sexual misconduct. So I'm going to put that issue aside for this video right here. I'm going to talk about some comments that this man made about slavery. He was asked about when he thinks America was great. And this is what he said. He says, I think it was great at a time when families were united. Even though we had slavery, they cared for one another. Let me reread that. Even though we had slavery, they cared for one another. Then he went on to say, people were strong in their families. Our families were strong. Our country had a direction, and we corrected many of the problems. Now, I want to just take some time to talk about this. I mean, this man is actually saying that he thinks America was great when slavery was going on. He thinks America was great when Africans were kidnapped from Africa, brought in chains on slave ships, crammed into slave ships like sardines, forced to travel for days upon days, wallowing in their own filth. Some of them, many of them, millions of them didn't even make it to America. They were thrown overboard and fed to the sharks. That man thinks that that was a great time for America. He thinks that it was a great time when black families were ripped apart and black people were sold like property, like you sell a dog or a horse or a cow. He thought that that was a great time. It was a great time when black people were beaten and lynched and castrated, raped, and robbed of their identity, robbed of their original languages and cultures and customs and religions. He thought that was a great time. He thinks that's a great time for America. Families were intact while black families were ripped apart. That's his idea of America being great again. And that's the idea of many of these people that support this fool, Donald Trump. When they talk about making America great again, they're talking about making America white again, with a white man back in the White House, with white supremacy back in the forefront. That's their idea of making America great again. It's no coincidence that you have these racists supporting Donald Trump. And it's no surprise that Donald Trump would support somebody like a Roy Moore, somebody who thinks slavery was a great time in American history. It's no mistake. It's no mistake that he would support someone that's accused of sexual misconduct, given the fact that Donald Trump himself has been accused of sexual misconduct. This represents Donald Trump and everything he stands for. I mean, he's campaigning for this guy. You know, this guy represents his base. These are the people that love Donald Trump. The KKK endorsed Donald Trump. David Duke endorsed Donald Trump. And it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that it took this man forever to make any kind of statement about what was going on in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's no mistake that it took him so long. It's no mistake that this man actually embraced and defended those racists down there, because this is who he is. This is his base. And these are the people that surround him. So I hope that the people in Alabama turn out for that election. I hope that African American voters turn out and vote against this guy. Anybody, damn near anybody, would be a better candidate for the U.S. Senate than this guy, Roy Moore. You know, he's another one of these self-righteous hypocrites. While he's preaching all this right-wing Christian evangelical stuff, he's engaging in all this foul behavior and condoning and celebrating a time when black people were held in bondage, when black people had no rights at all in this country, when a black person could be killed and nothing be done about it. That was a great time for him, when black people didn't have any voting rights, when black people didn't have any rights, period. This man thinks that's a great time, and that speaks volumes about his mentality. And we need to make sure that somebody like that does not get in the U.S. Senate and make decisions and vote for laws that will have an impact on our lives.